Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How we doing? How we doing? Welcome to the pre-market prep session for October 4th, 2023. This being our daily session where we go over all the important news, notes, information, trade ideas, analysis necessary to continuing to kill it in the market. We had some crazy action yesterday, some difficult action. We had some that, let me see here. I'm going through my, okay, nice. Sorry, I'm going through my email to pull up the newsletter and I saw like payment confirmation. And I feel like you always want to check that now because you don't know when somebody's hacked your stuff and, has purchased $600 in Zoom minutes like somebody did on my account like a few months ago. But yeah, yesterday's action, we got some weird blender type action, right? We opened up lower, was expecting like a higher open, but we opened up lower than expected. Then from there, did a nice pivot in order to take advantage of SPY puts, made some money to the downside, over 100% on put lottos as we got underneath pre-market high, retested and stayed, pre-market low, retested and stayed there. So that made for a really nice day trade to the downside. And then from there, it was kind of just like shifty action, right? We had some winners, we had some losers. So it was a mixed day. But the important thing about mixed days is, okay, take what you learned, right? And then use that as a building block moving forward to be the foundation of your future successes. So that's what we're looking to do. Whether you have winning trades or losing trades, you want to look at them and say, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? Would I change anything, right? What would I do better? And just move, with that same onus as you push forward. But we're here each and every day to get better, right? 1% better daily is the mantra, right? That is the goal. If you can do that, you get exponentially better over time. Time flies, right? This day today, October 4th, 2023, we will never get again, right? So make sure that you're getting 1% better so that as time flies, you're making sure that you're using that to your advantage. That's a hack, right? A lot of people complain about it. That is a hack because that means that if you do the right things every day, small things, simple things, you can make big change. So make sure you throw your ones in the chat signifying your intention to get 1% better. And other than that, let's go ahead and get things rocking and rolling. And again, great morning to everybody. My man Big Ches bringing the energy. Vivian, good morning. Andrea, good morning. Detrice, greetings. Yes, look, I love that. 2% in. We're already doubling what we're looking to get done. So let's get after it here. Let's see what we got going on. So our top news here, historic ouster. The ouster of Kevin McCarthy as U.S. House Speaker, a result of escalating infighting within the Republican majority, has renewed concerns that a federal government shutdown could happen next month. This marks the first time in history that the House has removed its leader and underscores the growing governance challenges that threaten the sovereign rating of the U.S. Now, in terms of backdrop, the House of Representatives on Tuesday voted to oust McCarthy as Speaker just 3 days after a bipartisan stopgap spending bill was passed to avert a government shutdown. A small number of Republicans who had sought deeper cuts to the federal budget succeeded in removing him from the leadership role. Representative Patrick McHenry has taken over as acting Speaker, and the House will hold Speaker elections on October 11th. The House will not conduct votes on pending fiscal year 2024 spending bills till a new Speaker is chosen, although House committees can continue to conduct business. So, in terms of shutdown risk, Goldman Sachs said the ouster heightens the risk of a government shutdown next month, adding that McCarthy's successor will face even more pressure to avoid a temporary spending package or additional funding for Ukraine. Quote, the near-term concern is that the House's paralysis will further complicate the already complicated calculus surrounding the forthcoming funding fight, said BTIG's Isaac Boltansky, forecasting a government shutdown in Q4. Quote, over the long term, ousting the Speaker in this manner is wholly consistent with broader structural concerns regarding political dysfunction and the country's debt trajectory. Now, in terms of seeking alpha commentary, prior to McCarthy's ouster, there we go, we got notifications going off already. Prior to McCarthy's ouster, Franklin Templeton had weighed in on the long-term challenges facing the U.S. government. Quote, last weekend's last-minute compromise offers little comfort that a shutdown later this year or in 2024 can be avoided, they said. Quote, intransigence in Washington remains its defining characteristic and will remain so at least until the 2024 elections. Importantly, as much as investors may welcome bipartisan outcomes, they can also destabilize internal politics. Yeah, I've got a friend that works on the Hill, and he told us yesterday that, crap hit the fan, for lack of better terms. Pretty crazy that the House of Representatives Speaker got literally ousted just 3 days after a major spending bill, avoiding a government shutdown has happened. But that's also just very characteristic of the U.S., right? They use the word intransigence, but it's kind of just like inefficiency, right? Where it's just we try and move towards something that is for the good of all, but no one can, kind of come to a consensus on how that looks because it's clouded by short-term interests, right? Everybody wants to get reelected. Everybody wants to maintain their positions and use their, information to insider trade and stay rich. People on both sides of the aisle, right? So it's one of those things where humanity has not figured out an effective way to govern, and I don't think we frankly ever will. They always joke about, the TikTok joke about men and how often they think about ancient Rome. Even ancient Rome didn't get it right when it came to governance. So it's not really a surprise to see us still kind of, looking like a circus show here when it comes to governance, even in 2023. In terms of consumer news, Project Nessie. So, in the landmark antitrust lawsuit against Amazon, the Federal Trade Commission has accused the e-commerce giant of secretly developing an algorithm that would examine how much it could raise prices so that competitors would follow. The algorithm, codenamed Project Nessie, helped Amazon boost its profits. And because of Amazon's dominance, this led competitors to boost their prices as well. Amazon, which stopped using the algorithm in 2019, is being sued by the FTC in 17 U.S. states for allegedly being a monopolist. Despite Amazon's stock pullback since the lawsuit, Seeking Alpha analyst TradeVestor has listed 9 reasons why they're adding to their position. Pretty crazy information there on Amazon, and definitely something to keep an eye on as they are actively, if this is true, utilizing monopolistic strategies and tendencies that they've been very well known to use, right? Amazon has often ripped off popular products, right? And then they've gone through the reviews and they've seen the little changes that people would make in order to have a better user experience. Then they come out with their own Amazon version of it, integrating all of those changes, right? So they allow you to sell your product, they research your product, they make the changes that the consumers want, and then they sell it for a lower price, undercutting their vendors. So, I would not put it past Amazon for them to be guilty of this. Now, in terms of stocks correction ahead, Wells Fargo expect. All right, so let me start that over here. So in terms of stocks correction ahead, Wells Fargo expects the separation between mega caps and the rest of the stock market to begin narrowing soon, with macro pressures raising the odds of a possible catching down for Wall Street's marquee names. Quote, we expect recent outperformance of larger cap names to eventually correct, either by the top names catching down to the average stock or the average stock catching up to the top names, it said. The average stock will likely continue struggling as Wells Fargo sees a recession on the horizon. 7 mega cap tech names drove the majority of market returns as of last month. Investing group leader Lance Roberts explains why traders are chasing mega caps with reckless abandon. So that's just how the market works now. That's how the market moves. Overall, there are only a few stocks that keep things pushing, keep things moving. And, that's still the case with these big techs, right? These big techs are what make it happen. In terms of media news here, costlier streaming. So Netflix may look at raising prices a few months after the ongoing actors strike ends, a development that may be imminent as the actors union restarts talks with studios today. Meanwhile, Warner Bros. Discovery, ticker WBD, hiked the price of its Discovery Plus streaming service for the first time since its 2021 launch. Netflix has been the only big streaming company not to raise prices over the past year, as services look to pivot to a profit focus after fighting over market share. Next week brings the previously announced price hikes for ad-free service on Disney streaming platforms, ticker Diz, while Amazon is adding ads and an ad-free tier to its Prime Video service next year. So the streaming wars are continuing to heat up, continuing to be dynamic in the way that they unfold, and Netflix with a major announcement. Right, in terms of a major announcement about Netflix is something that I've given the long signal on, the buy signal on. Netflix is at a nice weekly support, right, and Netflix is currently paying us, right, which is always nice to have. You want to be in position proactively, and then that way you can get paid as the move happens. So Netflix, we had people take profit on Netflix yesterday. Pop. Right. And Netflix, still seeing more bullishness ahead for that as long as this uptrend on the weekly chart is maintained. So I'm liking Netflix at this spot. In terms of today's markets in Asia, Japan, we're down 2.3%. Hong Kong, we're down 0.8%. China, we're closed. India down 0.4%. The FTSE in London up 0.1%. Paris up 0.4%. Frankfurt up 0.2%. The Dow up 0.1%. S&P flat. NASDAQ down 0.1%. Crude down 2%. Gold down 0.2%. And Bitcoin down 0.2% to 27,546. In terms of today's economic calendar, the ADP jobs report at 8:15, factory orders at 10 a.m., ISM service index. So we've got some data here at 10 a.m., just like we have the past few days. Again, we have bigger data coming out pre-market on Thursday and Friday, but as of right now, the major data is what's coming out at 10 a.m., and that is actually what was a deciding factor in the bearish movement that we had yesterday. So we had data come out at 10 a.m. yesterday, and we were at first, right, looking really bullish in the way they were moving. And that data came out and whoop, right, we dropped right down. So very important to mine this data here that we have coming out at 10 a.m. What else is happening? We'll finish up here with our rapid fire bullet point rundown. Got a little bit of rapid fire stock market news to finish us up. So will the 10-year treasury yield reach 5% by year end? Then the next one, Meta could lay off employees at Reality Labs Silicon unit today. Google backed Anthropic to raise $2 billion in latest funding. Job openings unexpectedly climb in August, snapping downward trend. Palantir, ticker PLTR, set to win UK NHS contract amid data privacy concerns. Bearish Citi analysts see crude oil tumbling toward low 70s next year. Spotify Premium, ticker SPOT, users will soon get free access to audiobooks. Court throws out $223.8 million talc verdict against Johnson & Johnson. Texas grid operator seeks more power reserves to avoid winter shortages. And then Apple downgraded on stretched valuation, slowing U.S. sales. So I'll wrap it up, put a bow on it, and take us out there. That will be all for today, right? October 4th, 2023. As always, if you get any valuable information from these sessions, just make sure you share it, right? Got a little bit of dust on me. Make sure you share it with those that also need to be putting their money to work for them. We give out great free information here each and every morning and provide a community that is goal-oriented and set toward closing the gap between where you are and where you're destined to be, right? So make sure that you're telling good people about good things, right? That's an important thing. We don't want to keep good opportunities to ourselves. I feel like that's kind of what's tough about the world right now is that nobody ever wants to share or to band together unless it comes to negativity, right? Let's make it cool. Let's, put out that positive energy and investing toward positivity instead of just only gathering around negativity, which literally helps no one, right? So stay positive today. Be confident today, be bold today, and remain, steadfast in your execution, right? Speak positive things over yourself. You'll see those things happen in your life. Just put the execution behind it. So without further ado, I'll wrap it up there. I'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning for our last pre-market prep session of the week. Flying out on Friday, and then I'm flying back in on Monday. So no pre-market prep Friday, Monday. We'll be back Tuesday, right? So tomorrow, the last one of the week. Make sure you're here to tune in. Peace, everybody.